Welcome back to the Behind the Well show. I'm your host, Roger Abel, here with Elias. What's happening? Anything good?
March Madness.
Ooh, that's true. Hawkeye women, one game closer.
Yep. They'll hopefully, by the time this one shows, who knows? They might be knocked out of the tournament, but they're scraping together wins right now. Hopefully they keep it up.
Yeah, they played a good team the other night. West Virginia had a really good defense.
Yeah, both teams played great on defense.
My wife wants to go to the game. If Iowa makes the Final Four, she wants to go.
Good, you should. It'd be fun.
I'm not going. She's going to go with a friend, I think.
Okay, don't go. Let her go with a friend.
She's going with a friend, I think. But, we were looking at, because I was looking at tickets. You know how much the hotel rooms are? $1,000 a night. $1,000 a night. I'm going
to watch it from my couch in my living room.
Yeah, so you'll get a kick out of this. The last couple Iowa games, women's games, we went to watch it somewhere, and I haven't watched any of the games. So finally the other night I'm like, I just want to go downstairs to our bar and watch the game. Yeah. Like, I just want to watch the game. If I go somewhere, I just get distracted, and I never really get to watch the game. But I ran across an article when I was preparing for this, Elias, on MSN, and it's actually the title of the article is, I don't even have to leave the house. And it's a Los Angeles woman exasperated that she spends money whether she goes in or stays out.
This one stung a little bit when I read it, because that's a new it used to be a strategy to not spend money, just don't go out, stay home. But
that might be worse.
Well, nowadays, yeah, it very well could be worse. I mean, and I know the Amazon truck knows where I live. I know they know where you live too. So it's it's every day.
I've got a story about this just the other night. So we went out to Taco Gato the other night, and I got this drink called a Toasted Negroni.
Sounds good.
It's like mezcal and some other little ingredients, and I got like what's in it. I know what's in it, so I kind of have like a recipe for it, and I looked it up. So I went all around all the little liquor stores around to find the ingredients. They didn't have it, so I'm like, well, okay, I'll order it online, because you can order alcohol online. You have to be 21 to sign for it. So I went to the first website and found one ingredient, but there was a shipping cost. So I had to buy more stuff to actually make it worthwhile to ship to my house. So you already know where this is going. So get the first order, and it was a decent order. But then I still had to find the other two ingredients online. So I found a different place that had those ingredients. And I had to order more stuff.
Got to make it worth the delivery charge.
So by the time it's all said and done, this is going to be the most expensive cocktail I'm going to have. But I actually got some good stuff.
You're better off just going back to the restaurant and having one.
I would have been way
Save
better
yourself
off.
money.
But I ordered some bourbon and some whiskey that you really can't find anywhere around. Your Eagle Rare 10, a bunch of Buffalo Trace.
Oh, nice.
Some Kentucky Owl that I enjoy. So in all that stuff, I got a pretty good price on it, so it kind of made up for the shipping. But the whole idea of that you don't have to leave the house, the only way you used to be able to order something online, order something in general, you had to pull out a magazine and call an 800 number. Like pre-internet, I used to get the Cabela's catalog. This is in the 90s. If you wanted something out of the Cabela's catalog, you open the catalog, or you went to the store. If you open the catalog, you call the 800 number, give them the little SKU and the item number, and order it over the phone. Like, it wasn't easy.
Remember those old, was it East Bay, the sports catalog company?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to think that magazine was just the coolest magazine, right? Because playing sports, so then you look at the basketball shoes, and then baseball comes up. You get to look at all the baseball stuff. And I remember being a kid thinking, man, this magazine is so awesome.
Think about just even everyday life, how much stuff we buy that we think we need that we don't really need. Like at the moment, we see it as a need because like, oh man, I wish I had that. And now you can just jump right on Amazon and it's literally at your house like in 24 hours. For reference of how easy it is to get things that you probably don't really need. And if you sat back and thought about it for a day, you'd forget you need it. But it's at your door the next day. So I pulled up my list just to see how much. You ready?
Let's hear
and some of this stuff I'm not going to read, but yesterday I ordered an XL Toadfish folding cutting board with a built-in knife sharpener. So
how is it possible you need that?
Well, because if I have my boat down at Lake of the Ozarks, I need to clean some fish. You're not really allowed to clean fish on the dock. So I'm like, well, I'll just clean them in my boat. So I need a cutting board to do that. Because the other cutting...
you do need that.
Well, I have a cutting board, but it didn't fold up and fit nicely in my boat. So I thought maybe I should get one that fit in my boat.
So now you have 2 cutting boards on the boat, one that folds and one that doesn't.
One up in the condo and one in the boat.
There you go.
All right. So I justified it. For $3.99, paint trays. So the girls could put their paint in a tray versus just on a plate or something.
Which
a box of paints.
You already have plates at the house.
Yeah, a box of paints. Another extension cord, because the extension cord I have is 75 feet, and it's a little too long. I wanted a 40-footer. Glass.
Your 75-foot one can reach 40 feet.
Yeah, but I got a 40 because, it's on the boat dock. So if it's too long, then you got to my point is most of this stuff, it's not needed. It's duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
XO Good Grips glass creamer. It's so the girls in the morning can pour their own cereal, so I can put the milk into a little creamer so they can pour their own cereal versus the big jug. Some ramekins. I mean, it goes on, and if you actually look at all of this, was it a needed item? It was a convenience item, but not needed. I would venture to guess, if I looked at the time, most of these orders were probably placed after 8 o'clock at night.
When you're shopping?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not the only one. I'll bet if most people went and pulled up their Amazon, if you actually go through and say, hey, what did I have to have out of this list? It's very, very little. And a lot of this stuff gets marketed to us. Right? I mean, this is marketed to us. Like, you have to have this. And most fits all. Not needed. So I think I understand and sympathize with the gal in this article that it's actually easier to spend money at home than it is if you go out. If you go out with your friends to a restaurant, you're not spending any money. If you cook dinner at home, you've got a chance you could spend money shopping if you're eating dinner by yourself. Get bored, you get on your phone and you go, yeah, that looks good. I didn't have a ramekin for dinner tonight. I think I need a set of ramekins.
It's all around. It's easy to spend money. That's probably not going to change anytime soon.
I think it likely is going to get easier.
Yeah.
It is. It's going to get easier. I was watching a show on HGTV when I was working out the other day, and they had a refrigerator that sensed when you were out of an item, and the shopping list came up in digital format.
Oh,
on the refrigerator, and you just press tomatoes and it added it to your shopping list.
That's great. That's awesome. That'd be a nice feature to have.
Yeah, but point is, it's making it easier to shop.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
That's going to lead to a subscription. AI will start figuring out how much milk you drank and just automatically deliver it to your house.
Yeah, and then hopefully there's a robot that'll just cook all the meals. That'd be great.
Have you been to Spare Time, the bowling alley here in town?
Yes.
Do you know at the kid's birthday the robot brings out all the food?
We did a birthday party there. Was it a little robot on wheels, or what do you mean?
Yeah, it's like an adult-sized robot came out. I have a video of it. Had all the pizzas on there and brings the pizzas out.
We did not see the robot when we were there.
I didn't even know it existed, but this robot comes out like singing happy birthday and all this stuff. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
But that's how they
Maybe the robot was getting service the afternoon we were there. Well, because we did a birthday party there too.
I've been to a couple. I've just never seen it. But then I thought about it. Aside from the cost of the robot, it was a really efficient way to bring out 4 pizzas. Because usually one waitress would try to figure out how she's going to juggle 4 pizzas. Just all stacked right on the robot. All the food is on the robot and carried it out. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I would love to have a refrigerator that just made its own grocery list. That'd be awesome. because then it knows everything you go through, tells you exactly what to get. That'd be awesome.
You actually would probably spend less money if you did that.
Oh, for sure. That's
grocery waste in America has to be gigantic.
I know where I live it is, so I'm sure if our house is any representation of what everyone else does too, yeah. I mean, I bet we could go if we really had to. It would not shock me if we could go 6 months without buying more food. If once you look in the freezer, right, because we have a deep freeze where we store meat. So all the freezer items, fridge items, and cupboards. Now, you're not going to be eating great meals, but I bet we could survive for almost 6 months.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, it would be mostly a frozen diet, right? A frozen or canned, because that's the only stuff that's not perishable.
Right, and it's going to be cobbled together meals, like not what you're used to having, but there's food in the house.
If you did that, your family would probably be healthier except for the vegetables that they're missing out on. Because you know what you wouldn't be buying?
What?
You don't have a 6-month supply of Doritos.
We don't. We got that fixed. I did chip-free February, and I just really don't even eat chips anymore. It cured me.
You'd be out of Cadillac crackers.
I don't eat those. Those made me upset.
You'd be good to go then.
I stopped eating Ritz crackers, too, because I got so upset with the shrinkflation that they went through. I'm cured. I don't eat chips or crackers anymore.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, another article I actually read, too, the Susie Orman article, I thought was good. She was quoted saying, "I sure hope you won't let your adult kid freeload." Susie Orman wants adult kids living in a home to chip in, as 18% of the parents say their finances are in disorder.
That's kind of harsh.
So I have a take on this.
I want to hear it.
This is my opinion, whether it's right or wrong. If your 18, 19, 20-year-old is living at home because they're going to college locally and they're enrolled full-time in school and getting good grades, then I'm okay with that. But I'm going to use myself as an example. I stayed low because my dad taught at a college, and I was going to play baseball. Chose not to do that after a semester. That wasn't for me. But at the end of the first semester, my grades weren't very good. And my dad taught at this institution and just said, "Roger, you had to try to get those grades. Like
Your grades are so bad, you had to put effort into getting grades."
Yeah, I mean, I was a normal college kid. I just didn't want to do anything. It wasn't that I couldn't get the grades.
A lot of kids have been through that.
So I had the choice. I could stay in college and get a job because my dad said, "Here's the deal. You're living at home for free. Like, you're going to get a job and get better grades, or you can go just work, not get out of college." So I actually, to live at home, was required to work. I didn't have to pay for anything, but I was required to have like a job. I think a lot of kids just go live at home because it's easy and they want to be cheap and they don't want to have any responsibility. I don't think those kids should live at home for free. Make them get a job.
Probably not. This is interesting. I think at one time I probably would agree 100% with this. Now that I'm a parent, though, and so we have 3 kids, I think part of me wouldn't mind if one of my kids lived at home forever. Like, I might actually enjoy it.
I'm sure my wife would like my kids to live at home forever.
I'm sure. I mean, it's probably not the best, right? I mean, you want your kids to grow up and have goals and achieve them and be productive, but it also might be kind of cool to have, another, like, a best friend living at your house forever. You just take care of them.
But can the best friend contribute?
Yeah, you can at least get a job.
Get a job, throw a few bucks at the rent or something, because I feel like
buy your dad a dinner every now and then, or maybe a beer or something. I'm teasing. I agree with this. People, you should be an adult and you should go live on your own. I'm being facetious.
I get it. Everybody has a hard time and might need to come home. I think she's referring to the people that stay at home for 10 years because they're trying to avoid responsibility. Stepbrothers.
Yeah, it's
a stepbrothers mentality. She's not referring to, hey, something bad happened, I need to come home to get on my feet.
Right. Your parents are now roommates. They're not parents anymore.
Right. I think of the movie Step Brothers. That situation happens more frequently than people probably want to admit. And what happened in the movie? Finally, it was like, hey, if you're going to live here, you're going to have a job. just some level of responsibility. So I thought it was kind of an interesting article as I started listening to it. And she thinks kids need to pay something. Well, if they can, sure. But more importantly, what are you doing to get on your own 2 feet and establish good money habits so that you can make it on your own, and all the other things that make people successful financially.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a case too to be made that if everyone could pitch in the family too. I mean, maybe it's not so bad that you got adult kids and you're all living in the same house, but if everyone's pitching in and helping make everything better for the family, that's one thing. But if it's just a free ride situation, yeah, that's not ideal for anybody.
I have no problem if there's a family unit that wants to stay as a family unit and everybody's participating in the family and helping and all those things. It might be a different situation. That's okay. It's just more, hey, if you let the kids freeload, do you know what you're teaching them? Bad money habits. That's what's happening.
True.
Like those habits stay. I can look at the people I know that left the house at 18 or whatever after college and never went back home. Most of those people have better money habits than the ones who stayed at home for several years.
You're forced into it. You don't have to learn. Yeah, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You just have to learn how to figure it out.
I mean, it's just navigating. It's no different than if you're trying to navigate retirement. There's a whole level of uncertainties that come with that. Like, I had a couple in here the other day and they said, this is a really hard mental shift in retirement. They don't feel like they're supposed to use the money right now. And it's a situation where they're in their early 60s, so they're kind of leaning on their retirement until their Social Security kicks in. And they have a great pension, so they're never going to run out of money. But they said, hey, this is a hard mental shift to feel like it's okay to start using this money.
It is, and it is okay to use it and spend it. And we see it all the time that it's a couple things, right? You trained yourself to save the money, and you also trained yourself not to use it. So you got to undo 30 or 35 years of thinking, right? You got to unwind that in a 6-month, 12-month retirement transition period. So you've had this mentality for 30 years, and now you got to unwind it and start spending the money. That's an obstacle, and it happens to a lot of people.
Well, I think people subconsciously know that if you make a money mistake while you're working or you have a rough patch, you have time to work it out, right? You still have your job. It's probably a decent paying job. You can get a part-time job. You can make a mistake with money during the accumulation phase. Once you hit the distribution phase, making a mistake with money is much more serious. And really, it's one of the reasons why, not just to avoid money mistakes, but also what you just said, the psychological shift from accumulating to distribution. It's one of the reasons we like to have the bucket strategy. If you can segment responsibilities of money and people understand, hey, this is the cash that I plan on spending, helps them psychologically kind of get over the hump of what to do with this money and that they're going to be okay in retirement.
It does, and it also helps with a lot of times what I think we find is it helps people certainly with volatility, especially in the short term, right? If your money that you're spending today and for the next 12 months, maybe up to 3 years, whatever it may be, but if that money's not just fluctuating up and down with the market, it helps people overcome the psychological hurdle of, well, I got to take it out.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? The financial professionals at Premier Investments and Wealth Management are the guides you've been looking for. Picture this, a financial plan tailored exclusively to you. Our team of experienced professionals will work closely with you to understand your aspirations and develop a personalized roadmap to get you there. Whether you're dreaming of retirement, buying a new home, or sending your kids to college, we've got the tools to give you confidence in your financial life. We'll help you navigate saving and investing, retirement income, and tax strategies. Our job is not just about making money. It's about helping our clients make smart choices. We'll provide you with the tools and knowledge to confidently steer your financial ship toward a brighter future. Are you ready to embark on your financial journey with confidence? Visit www.btwealthshow.com or click the link in the description of this podcast. Your financial future awaits.
One of the things, too, I think, Elias, that help people just psychologically with the change into a retirement is when they have that financial plan done, it gives them a level of confidence. And too many people are living by rules of thumb, or I heard I should do this. I had a meeting the other day. A guy said, I heard I should do a Roth conversion. I said, well, if you were going to convert it and let it sit there for 10 years, then maybe that would be a strategy for you. And it's actually on our docket to evaluate in November after we know how much money they've spent, right? We might max out their tax bracket and do a conversion. Well, this podcast I listened to said you should convert it all right now. I said, well, that's great. That's not great for you in your situation. And I was able to show him through the financial planning process and through the plan why it didn't work. At the end of the meeting, they needed a distribution of money. I said, so if you just paid tax on this money, you'd be turning around and taking it right out. There's no point to do a conversion. And then it kind of like clicked. But the ability for an individual to understand why things work in their situation and why they don't is all quantified through the financial plan. And too many people get caught up in rules of thumb. I was on this podcast. They said I have to do this. I think that if you think of one of our core principles is that we try to help people develop a media filter. I know what he was listening to.
Do you?
Yeah, he told me he's on YouTube, and we know it's on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know if you knew the specific video.
Oh, I have a feeling.
Good idea.
But yeah. I just said, remember that the goal, and let's be honest, what's our goal of doing this show? It's to educate people, help them with their money, and hopefully they engage with us at some point, whether they're a current client or a new prospect that might come to us. Everybody has an agenda. You just need to figure out what it is. Well, this show, their entire agenda was to get you to contact them to do a Roth conversion. Whether it made sense for you or not, that's what they were trying to do.
And that's right. And like you said, the podcast, so this person listened and thought, well, that's a good idea, but that podcast and that message really doesn't know anything about them.
Right.
Right. And it might be a rule of thumb. It might get you pointed in the right direction or on the right path. But really a personalized plan is going to give you the real answers. And there's no perfect way. And there's not one way to do it. And what works for one family may not work for another. And we run into this all the time. You can show, because we kind of look at the statistical analysis of it. Well, how many people actually implement what is optimal by the numbers?
Very few.
Very few. It's some of that, but it's also a lot of the things that help them feel good and sleep at night and not worry about stuff, right? So the emotion and the psychological impact of it, you got to combine those things and find the happy medium path that will work for them.
Well, I got an email from someone last night. Hey, I just not a client. Someone wanted to run an idea by me, see what I thought. Hey, just rebalanced my portfolio. Just want to know, I'm 7 to 8 years from retirement. What do you think? Does this look good? Is this what I should do? And the answer was, I don't know. Yet we haven't quantified what this individual's risk capacity is. I said, if you need a 100% stock portfolio, this looks reasonable. But I don't know if that's going to provide you the optimal outcome that you need to have. You need to figure out what your risk capacity is. And once you know that, then you can start.
Then you can build out.
You can build it out.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right. We get asked all the time, is this a good investment? Well, in general, that might be a good investment. It could possibly be the world's greatest investment, but does it fit you? Is it great for you? Well, I don't know the answer to that.
The investments are all the same, regardless of what firm you go to.
Well, that's true.
The only thing that's different is asset allocation philosophy and how you get to that point. But if you buy XYZ stock at firm A or XYZ stock at firm B or XYZ mutual fund or ABC mutual fund, they're all the same everywhere. It's just philosophy and strategy to get there. And, until you quantify your risk capacity and how much you need to do to be successful, it's going to be really hard to know whether you're doing what's right for your personal situation. So, Elias, it came to my attention that April is Financial Literacy Month. So instead of challenging blanket advice like we usually do on most shows, we're actually going to do something a little fun. We're going to call it the Personal Finance Bootcamp for Beginners. And really, these are just 9 really quick steps that you should look at if you're beginning to try to get your personal financial life under control. And number one that everybody needs to figure out, know your income. I'll be honest. If there's some people that you ask what their income is, they don't actually know.
I bet listeners would be surprised the number of people that you would ask that question to, and they would say, well, I don't know exactly. That's a pretty common answer. That's a pretty common answer to that question.
And here's why. Because they're having trouble quantifying what it is after all the stuff comes out for taxes and retirement.
They just know what their check deposit is on payday.
Yeah, they just don't actually know like the gross amount. They know what they deposit. They don't know the gross amount. So 1, you have to know your income. 2, devise a spending plan.
And this can be, a spending plan, budget, right? Some kind of budget. It can be.
Yeah, we call it a plan because I think there's inherently a negative connotation with budget that says I can't spend money. So a spending plan is just allocating your dollars.
Right. But a spending plan, and it can be, I tell people all the time, you can write it on a napkin. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated, but you do need to know where your dollars are going. There has to be some, I'm going to direct dollars towards certain things. So you have an understanding of where the money's going and where you're spending it. That's a basic, and this stuff, it's personal finance for beginners. This is 101 basics. You got to get these things right.
3, pay yourself first. Best thing you do is pay yourself first. If you pay yourself first from day one, things will be in good shape and work out for you. So, spending plan. Number 1 line item on that spending plan should be your name. That's not for whose spending plan it is. It's for who gets paid first. You. If you're a young person starting out and you pay yourself first before you start paying the creditors and all the other things, you're setting yourself up for future success. Your future self will thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Your future self will absolutely do that. And so right now, I feel like our family, my wife and I, were in this messy phase of life when it comes to finance anyway, because we have 3 kids at home, the 2 of us, and we're starting activities. 2 of them are starting soccer now. We got 1 in gymnastics, 1's doing piano lessons. So I think about the pay yourself first a lot, right? Because we do prioritize our saving, but if that wasn't how we did it, life gets expensive.
Be nothing left. You would
my gosh,
it'd all be gone.
And we just 2 of them just signed up for soccer. Okay, so you got to get shin guards for both, socks for both, a uniform, and then you can't get one soccer ball and share it. Everyone's got to have their own soccer ball. So, but you get what I'm saying? It just gets hard to keep everything in line. But if you got that stuff kind of dialed in, you can just keep with it. And it gets hard, but you can keep with it.
Step 4, limit and reduce debt. Sounds simple. Just don't take debt. Once again, if you're paying yourself first, it's going to make it challenging to take debt because you're not going to have the money to do it. And if you have a spending plan, you can start to say, hey, does this actually make sense? Is this important to me? Number 5, only borrow what you can repay. Good example of this, your house. Lots of people are house poor right now because what they want is at the very maximum of what they can afford. So when you go to the bank and you say, well, Mr. Bank, what kind of house can I buy?
Let me show you.
They're showing you the maximum. Unless you have some runway to a lot more money in the near future, meaning you're getting a promotion, you're getting a bonus, which neither of those things are typically known, don't go buy the maximum house you're approved for. Because that means you're likely going to be house poor. a good rule of thumb, 25% of your take-home pay. So if you're making $5,000 a month, your house payment should be $2,500 or $1,250. The challenge is finding a $1,250 house today.
Good luck with that.
It's hard. So it's made people jump in to try and get a house that they like, and it's making people house poor. But make sure you can repay what you borrow.
So the sixth one on the list here, protect yourself with insurance. So you got to have, if you have a home, you need home insurance. Have a car, you need auto insurance. It's part of spreading risk in your life. And other things you probably need to think about, especially have a family, start to think about some term life insurance and stuff like that. And the other day, someone asked me about, do you guys do investments or insurance? Which that's a fair question, right? Because I think what he was getting at is he wants to do business with a real investment firm, not a life insurance agent that claims to be a financial planner. And it's a fair question. So I kind of let him know, well, we're an investment firm. That's what we do. But it is my responsibility to talk with you about the risk in your life. So, for example, this is a young couple. They have a newborn at home. So I know you're married. I know you have a family. It's my job and kind of obligation to you to ask you, do you have any term life insurance? That's a risk that your family needs to take off the table. So if something happens to you, there's money for your family to replace your income and stuff like that. And then as you get older, there's, your health. So you're going to have healthcare costs. You need health insurance. Maybe a way to pass risk on to an insurance company with like long-term care solutions and stuff like that. But understanding insurance, at least at a basic level, making those decisions, probably if you start to figure that out at a younger age, the better, so you can understand the decisions you're making.
Number 7, plan for your future.
With a financial plan?
I think that's reasonable. Here's what I would tell you. As I get older, I used to think I had a long runway, and I don't really have an intention to retire, but realistically, everybody's going to be forced to retire at some time. You're either going to die, get sick, or you're going to be forced to at some time. But it might seem like a long ways out, but the younger you start, the more you benefit from having a plan and having an advisor. Number 8, give yourself a break. We talked about this, Elias, probably couple weeks ago, and not just from finances, but from work sometimes too.
Yeah, sometimes you need a break from work. Could be a vacation. And also, I think the younger families we work with that are really good with their money and they're getting all the basics right. I had a question the other day about, hey, we're thinking about spending X to do a vacation. Do you think we can afford it? And for them, it seems like a big expense, but they have the cash to pay for it. And they're doing I said, you're doing everything correctly. You going on this vacation, this does not impact your long-term success if that's what you're concerned with. So yeah, go on a vacation. You kind of earned it. Like if you're doing everything right and you spend some money to have lifestyle, how is that negative?
Well, and I think it's just, you have to celebrate your successes at some point. Could be a small celebration, big, whatever. But even in business, and I'm probably poor at this, I always like to move the goalpost, Elias. I know you really appreciate it. But the other night, my wife's like, you accomplished X. Maybe you should go like splurge and celebrate it a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, tell me what you want to do. We'll go do it. And number 9,
here's how we celebrate, by making harder goals and bigger challenges. That's our celebration.
But yeah, I'm sorry about that.
All good.
I think you actually like it when we move the goalpost a little bit and we get a new challenge in this office.
I do. I also like to complain because I just think it's funny to complain about stuff. So I do. I enjoy both, but I enjoy complaining about it too.
I mean, I kind of like making you complain.
I think everyone does. It's kind of entertaining and funny.
Number 9, I think, is actually most people do a poor job of this, and the better job you do, the more your life opens up. And I have a book I just bought that I'm reading that kind of goes into this, but it says learn to delegate when needed. I think in life, especially with all the information that's out there, most individuals can figure out how to do most of the stuff that's out there on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can. The question is, do you have the time, desire, and knowledge to do that? And a lot of it is time and desire, because I think you can gain knowledge. I'm reading a book right now called Buy Back Your Time. And the whole premise of the book is it's actually for business owners, because most business owners aren't great delegators because they have this sense that they need to do it all so it's done perfectly and that no one's going to do it as good as they do. But as soon as you start to buy back your time, opportunities get bigger because you have time to focus on bigger opportunities. This is just like your personal life. If you're spending all of your time doing your own taxes, changing your own oil, mowing your own grass, managing your own money, do you ever get the opportunity to have a new experience or meet new people or all those things? And the answer is like, you have less time. Most people are going to work 40 hours a week. But then if they're doing all of this other stuff on their own because they don't want to delegate their tax work, they don't want to delegate their legal work, they don't want to delegate their finances, they don't want to delegate mowing the lawn, how much time do they actually get from themselves?
Not as much as I would like to have. I know that.
So I encourage everybody listening, figure out how to delegate some of this stuff. And we live by the answer, or the question, time, desire, knowledge. Do you have the time, the desire, and knowledge to do this yourself? And if one of those you say no to, you should delegate it. Another good thing I heard is, just take whatever your hourly rate is at work. And if you could hire someone for less, you should. So if you're making $50 an hour and you can hire someone to mow your grass for $30, why would you mow your own grass?
That's a really good
Your time
question.
is worth more than the amount to mow the grass. And I think I'll leave
time's the most valuable commodity.
The older that you get, the more you learn that.
Right.
When you're 25, and remember back to when you were in high school and your senior year took forever and you thought life was never going to get short. And then you're in college.
I'm never getting out of here.
Yeah. Well, when's this going to be
feel.
over? Yeah. And then college. Is college ever going to be over? And then real life happens. And all of a sudden you wake up and I'm 45. I'm like, man, the last 20 years went really fast.
It does.
It goes really fast, and time becomes the biggest asset that we all have. That's my takeaway from the show today. Just think about that. Time goes fast. We all think we have a long runway, but we don't really know. And if you don't delegate, find one thing to delegate in your life. I promise you won't regret it. I stopped mowing my grass 10 years ago. Greatest thing I did. Because now on a Tuesday night, when I would have to mow the grass, I can spend it with my family or my wife, my kids, whatever it is, do something I want to do versus 2 hours a time mowing and trimming the grass.
Yeah, and I do enjoy, truth be told, I enjoy mowing, but what I've learned is I enjoy someone else doing it more. Mowing it too. I enjoy both. It's kind of one of those tasks. It's kind of fun because you can just see the immediate progress, right? Like you go down and back. Oh, look, that's all done. But it's also nice to just pull in the driveway and, oh, that looks good.
You
didn't have to do it.
I get to see the immediate progress too when I get home from work.
Yeah, you can.
You
can see it whether you're on the mower or standing on the deck.
It's
you can
all
still
the same.
see it. Yeah,
it all looks the same.
Yeah.
With that said, I want to thank everybody for listening to the show. If you're not following us on social media, you can find us at btwellshow.com, Facebook, X, YouTube. If you're listening to the show or watching the show on YouTube, I'd ask you to subscribe if you want to continue to get content like this. If you're looking to get started with a plan, you can click the link in the description below, and we'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for listening.